Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing a movie which I just watched and actually really liked compared to the Letterboxd reviews right now, which are not too positive. It Lives Inside. Just as a little synopsis for this film before we get started, it is about the main character Sam, who grew up with this East Indian background, but once she got to high school, she started to separate from it a little bit. And now she's faced with her former best friend, who also grew up in an East Indian background, whom she began to separate with in high school because she just didn't want to be seen as the Indian kid, you know? So now she pretty much has to face this spirit that her former best friend is dealing with by confronting and really realigning herself with that culture and background. So it was just based on that alone, I just think a really well thought out and well written and developed story. And I just feel like with that came a lot of heavy subject matter that, in my opinion, was dealt with really well. This film had a $5 million budget, right? And I saw on Letterboxd there was a review that was like, if you've seen The Boogeyman, you've seen this movie. The difference is that The Boogeyman cost 7 times the amount of money as this film. The Boogeyman's budget was $35 million. And by the way, neither, I'm pretty sure, is including advertising and all of that. I'm just including the budget for the actual filming. And yeah, like the fact that The Boogeyman wasn't much more impressive or really much more more impressive at all than this film with 7 times the budget says a lot. I would say really the one difference is that The Boogeyman, the CGI was a little better. There are some CGI moments in this film where it's just not too great. And that's my biggest flaw with this film, really, is that they show too much of the creature. And because of that, they need to deal with the repercussions of not having fantastic CGI. And then it just takes you out of this belief. I was kind of in the mind at first in this film that this creature was just kind of what you saw it as. And it wasn't a distinct thing that you saw this creature as, and that it was sort of like the shadows, you know? And I wish that they stuck with it rather than giving it a proper look. I felt like the scares here were also pretty strong. They did a lot of interesting build-up and just really scared you a bit, you know? And I appreciate that. I appreciate when there is a scary movie that I watch and it has me on the edge of my seat. You know, something I really appreciated also about the film is that the characters were really likable. I never really had an issue with any of the characters in the film. It's just like they're trying to make me like a character that I just can't like. And you know, that is a really important thing for a movie to do. The one character where you could say maybe they didn't do enough with was the former best friend character, Tamira. They just don't show her much until she's already like dealing with this creature. And I think maybe if they just showed you more of her before this turn and gave you a bit of her backstory, you know, maybe open the film with her rather than with Sam, you would be a little bit more invested. We're just gonna veer quickly into some light and more big spoiler territory, so just be warned and feel free to jump to this time right here if you'd like to skip the spoilers. I just wanted to talk about a few things which I think people will have an issue with in this film. Those being the ending, like the big fight. It wasn't that great, to be honest. It could have been shorter. It really made you see how the VFX just weren't that impressive and believable. And I think that they could have just made it a lot quicker and, you know, made it more like too little of a bad thing can make it a good thing, while you get like just the right amount of a bad thing or too much of a bad thing and it's gonna be bad. But if you have a little bit of it, you won't see that as much. And that's really what we should have gotten, because they just they didn't have the budget to pull the ending off that they were trying to go for, in my opinion. And the other bit, which I saw some people really making fun of, was this part of the film where you have Sam and this love interest type character, and they're at the murder house essentially, and suddenly he like tries kissing her and she kisses him back, and they smoke weed, and it's literally right on the swing set next to this murder house. And my opinions with that are just that it's kind of teenagers being stupid teenagers. Really, I could have totally seen people that I went to high school with, or even myself, doing something just stupid like that. Because that's just kind of what you do. So from my perspective, as somebody who's really just in that phase of my life, totally a believable thing, in my opinion. I think that there are a lot of really stupid people blinded by lust and just like wanting to fit in that would have done that. With that being said, I'm going to rate this film a 3.5 out of 5 stars. But if you would like to hear me talk more about this film in depth as well, let's talk about another horror movie called No One Will Save You. You can check out my podcast, Popcorn Premieres, where an episode will debut this Thursday. I will post a link to it in my community tab about this film and No One Will Save You. So please mark your calendars for that if you're interested in podcasts. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it and you want to see more like it, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, do whatever you gotta do. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on It Lives Inside if you did get a chance to see it in theaters. Do you agree with my take, or do you agree with the more generalized audience on Letterboxd that this film just wasn't that good? Let me know in the comments below. Take care, everyone.